What if the loudest explosion in the royal universe did not come from a balcony wave, a memoir, or a court case, but from a dinner party whisper that slipped the leash and bolted straight into the internet? Picture crystal glasses clinking, egos loosening, and one sentence that made the palace walls suddenly feel very thin. That is where today begins. Quick favor, if you're enjoying this deep dive already, tap subscribe and click the notifications bell. It is free, it takes a second, and it helps Royal Top Stories keep the lights on. Thank you if you did. Now, back to the show. The British royal family has always had a wild card, the person who knows the back corridors, the seating plans, the unspoken rules, and occasionally the inconvenient memories. For decades, that figure was Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. In, out, back in, out again. Like a yo-yo with a title, she has seen it all. And when someone like that becomes the center of fresh chatter, the rumor mill does not just spin, it takes flight. Over the past 24 hours, social media has been buzzing with claims of a leaked recording from a private Mayfair dinner. Not a book, not an interview, not a press release. Allegedly, a candid conversation that escaped its intended audience. Now, pause right there. Allegedly is doing a lot of heavy lifting because none of this is confirmed, and responsible commentary means separating smoke from fire. But the reaction itself is the story, because reactions tell you where the pressure points are. The chatter suggests that the voice in the recording is unmistakable and that the topic is explosive. It drags old timelines, old associations, and old royal sensitivities back into the spotlight, not as proven fact, but as narrative. And in the modern royal ecosystem, narrative is oxygen. Lose control of it, and everything feels like it is on fire. Here's where things get interesting. The claims focus not on new events, but on reinterpreting old ones. That's always the most dangerous territory. Old photographs, old trips, old friendships suddenly rebranded with new meaning. It's like taking a family album and scribbling captions years later. You can make anything look suspicious if you squint hard enough. One phrase doing the rounds is that certain people were treated like inventory, code word, corporate word, and because it's such a loaded term, it has set off alarm bells. But let's slow down. Language and gossip travels faster than context. A single word removed from tone and setting can become a headline grenade. That does not make it true, but it does make it powerful. Then there is the timeline game. Social media detectives love timelines. They love gaps, overlaps, and coincidences. They treat them like missing puzzle pieces. 1 year here, a trip there, a photograph somewhere else. Suddenly, a story is born. It feels convincing because it looks organized, even when it is speculative. Humans trust patterns, even when patterns are accidental. Add Prince Andrew into the mix and emotions spike instantly. His name is already associated with controversy, so any rumor that brushes against him feels radioactive. That does not mean everything linked to him is automatically true, but it does mean every whisper gets amplified. In crisis communication, this is called proximity damage. You do not have to be guilty of the new thing to suffer because of the old thing. Now let us talk about why this alleged leak has rattled cages, even without proof. It challenges the official origin story, the carefully curated narrative of how relationships began, who knew whom and when. Royal storytelling is built on clarity and symbolism. Fairy tale meets protocol. When alternative versions appear, even unverified ones, they chip away at that clarity. And silence, which is usually the palace's favorite tool, becomes complicated. Speak too soon and you validate the rumor. Say nothing and the internet fills the vacuum. It's like trying to ignore a smoke alarm by putting on headphones. Another reason this moment feels loud is because it collides with existing fatigue. Audiences are tired of endless royal drama, but they're also addicted to it. It's the soap opera you swear you're done with right until the next episode drops. So when a new angle appears, even a shaky one, everyone leans in. Let us also address the role of social media factions. Once a story enters the arena, it's no longer about truth versus falsehood. It becomes team sport. Screenshots are weaponized, old quotes are recycled, every side claims victory before the referee even shows up. In that environment, facts struggle to breathe. There's also the question of credibility. Sarah Ferguson, fairly or not, is viewed through a complicated lens. To some, she's a survivor with nothing to lose. To others, she's a chaotic narrator whose anecdotes should be taken with caution. That split reaction alone explains why the alleged recording has caused such whiplash. And then there's the emotional core of it all. The idea that someone might not be who they said they were hits a nerve, because identity is everything in the royal brand. Titles are inherited, but trust is earned. When trust is questioned, even hypothetically, it shakes the furniture. Now, before anyone lights the torches, let us ground this. There's no verified recording released publicly. There are no authenticated transcripts. There are no official confirmations. What exists is reaction, speculation, and interpretation. That matters because history is full of rumors that felt true until they weren't. Yet, it would be naive to pretend this moment doesn't matter. It shows how fragile modern royalty has become in the digital age. One alleged dinner party comment can trend globally before breakfast. Control has shifted. Power no longer sits solely behind palace gates. It lives in phones, podcasts, and anonymous accounts. This is the new royal battlefield, not crowns and carriages, but credibility and clicks. And every figure connected to the monarchy is now playing defense, whether they want to or not. So what happens next? Likely nothing dramatic. No midnight statements, no explosive lawsuit. The palace will wait, the internet will move on, something else will trend. That is the rhythm. But the residue remains, another layer of doubt, another crack in the narrative armor. The bigger lesson here is not about any one person. It's about how stories evolve in the absence of trust. When audiences stop believing official versions, they become vulnerable to alternative ones, no matter how thin the evidence. That is not a royal problem. That is a modern problem. And for the monarchy, which survives on continuity and confidence, that's the real challenge. Not one rumor, but the environment that allows rumors to thrive. Thank you for watching Royal Top Stories.